There's another article titled Gym Fascism by Aspen Vera Mulvey, where she discusses things happening at a fascist gym called Barbell Strength Tribe, which again is a pseudonym, so I can't look up the real gym. But she talks about overhearing all these homophobic and racist rants.
Homophobe, it's a homophobe right here.
I can't help but wonder if the bar for what qualifies as homophobic and racist is just lower for her. Barbell Strength Tribe's walls are covered in blackwashed spray foam insulation, contoured with rippling aluminum walls of the former storage space. Adorning them is a large banner: "Surrender is failure. Surrender is fatal." One afternoon after a session, two lifters, Theo and Kevin, launched into an impassioned discussion of the failure of multiculturalism. Theo, the gym's owner, spoke derisively of, quote, intersectional bullshit and, quote, fat cat-loving gender studies professors,
also known as the crazy cat lady.
Theo turned to me and said, "Fundamentally, I'm a fascist. I run the gym like a fascist state. There is an absolute way of moving that is never relative, applied to all members." If this is a powerlifting gym, which it surely is, that is just simply correct based on the standard of completing a movement. Breaking parallel in a squat is not relative. You did or you didn't. Continuing, he characterized his orientation to the world. "I don't know, I guess I'm a pseudo-Buddhist fitness hermit, compassionate fascist." The self-description rang true with how he cued members for the deadlift. "Grab the bar, tighten, drag it up, fling your dick through the bar.
Just hump, 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 hump."
Now, I don't want to judge a book by its cover or anything, but based on her reaction to this quote, what would you imagine she looks like? Well, it's this. But despite her bio saying her work explores, quote, athletic practice, this no-filter vernacular and intensity of powerlifting gyms seems to make her feel a certain type of way. And in my many years of coaching, I've had clients call me a Nazi and a dictator when the rest timer goes off, and I say, hey, time to hit your next set. A lot of gym speak is just tongue-in-cheek shit talk. At one point, probably 80% of my clientele was gay men. And if you go back to some of my earlier videos, my business was called Pride, Fitness, and Movement because I was marketing toward gay men. And when I would have one of my clients, John, squeeze out one more rep than he thought he could, he would jokingly call me homophobic after. I have told clients to fuck the bar as a cue to extend their hips, just like Theo did. I have told clients to clench their ass like someone's trying to put a finger in it to cue their glutes firing. I have spent most of my life in gyms, and let me tell you, gym culture is crass.
Fuck you, dude. You don't got that.
Do you want me to touch you?
You don't have it, bro.
Do you want me
can't...
to touch you?
So what if I do?
But it is always in good fun. Everybody gets roasted equally. I mean, think about like one of my personal favorite memes, the one where it's some guy doing a deadlift and the caption just says, "If I don't lift this, I'm gay and my whole family will die." I love that one. Clearly, it's not meant literally. It's just stupid gym humor. And trust me, nobody is safe from this. At the end of the day, the only thing anybody in the gym cares about is whether or not you're trying and making progress. If you're not, they'll probably help you figure out why. That's what powerlifting gyms are about. Pushing you to your limits, and sure, it might look intense or even barbaric if you're not used to this, if you're used to more of a commercial gen pop gym, but for the people in these communities, that intensity is what drives results. I mean, you can take this quote from Aspen. "A key difference between other gyms and Barbell Strength Tribe," see, Gen Pop Gym, told ya, "lay in how exhortations to intensity were not applied for the benefit of the individual lifter's health, but were rather wielded as a condition of membership. I would disagree. That is for their individual health, being that their idea of health is getting stronger consistently." Urged on by Theo and other lifters, members would push their bodies to muscular failure, the extreme point at which the body collapses under the weight, in order to be accepted as a true member of the tribe. Members strain against the barbell, red-faced, arms and heads vibrating, until the weight crashes down. Theo would nod in approval. "Next time, the lifter will finish one more rep." General population gyms would frown on this intensity as not only dangerous, but athletically unproductive. Dangerous? Maybe if you're not used to it. Athletically unproductive? Not even close. Getting close to muscular failure is the most effective way to build strength and muscle. That's not just gym bro talk. It is backed by science. Before we jump into some real life examples, let's take a step back and explore scientifically why fitness might feel politically charged to some folks. It's not just about the headlines. The gym really does change you, biologically and physiologically. Here's where you're going to start to see some of the parallels that these people are drawing. Consistent diet and exercise increases testosterone levels. There's a 2019 study that explored this, but it is often misquoted because essentially what it shows is that increasing testosterone levels can impact your political alignment. It's fascinating, but just to be clear, it doesn't mean your favorite liberal streamer is going to suddenly go to the gym, gain a little bit of muscle, and then get rid of their little tote bag for a MAGA hat. This was about individuals with a tenuous, very slight liberal lean. So if that's the case, then why does it matter? Because it demonstrates how physiology, something as basic as a hormone, can subtly nudge your political preferences. Think about what that suggests for humans if we changed any other single thing in our bodies.
You've changed.
Let's take this a step further. There is something called parochial altruism. It is the natural tendency to prioritize one's in-group while being skeptical of outsiders. A 2022 study found this trait to be much more prominent in conservatives. It's rooted in survival instincts, protect your tribe, evaluate outsiders carefully. It makes sense. In the gym, this might look like an intense focus on community and loyalty, a we stick together kind of mentality. This one single image might be the most popular on this subject. There are people that even seeing this out of context know what it means. The short version is that the graph on the left, we have conservatives, and the graph on the right, we have liberals. They should have probably reversed those, left and right, but it shows at the center, conservatives have the highest moral allocation for their family, where liberals have the least. However, liberals have the highest moral allocation for all living things in the universe, including plants and trees, where conservatives scored the lowest. I don't think there is a better way to summarize the moral and ethical focus of both ideologies. So just to be clear, the theory that I'm pulling from these two articles, at least how it seems like they're interpreting the world, is you go to the gym, your testosterone goes up, moderate liberals increase a few points in parochial altruism, their moral allocation likely changes, and then they see their goals and ideals align more with conservatism. Again, this doesn't sound far-fetched the more that you think about it. Besides, people have been speculating about the connection between physiology and politics since 1910. I mean, it was kind of laughed at back in the day. People still kind of goof on it, but as science progresses, we're starting to find these threads of truth in it. But remember, the fear in one of those articles was that it would translate into violence or radicalization. And sure, testosterone may enhance competitiveness, but let's not get carried away, A lot of conservative psychology seems to be a varying degree of believing X, so they do Y in preparation or response for it. I sincerely doubt that I need to tell you conservative men make up the majority of preppers, but just for fun, here's a few more clear examples that help to illustrate this idea. Take this 2008 study. Researchers found that conservatives tend to exhibit heightened physiological sensitivity to threats. Put a little more simply, they had a more noticeable physical response to danger, like sweaty palms when they would be shown threatening images. So if you have a stronger reaction to a perceived threat, it would make sense that you would be more inclined to do things that could mitigate it, right? Either with your vote or by making your body more resilient. Then we have a 2017 study that backs this up, showing that fear heavily influences political belief. I mean, think about it. When you ask most people who they're voting for, how often are you hearing the rationale of keeping someone they don't like out of office? A 2020 study adds a little bit more nuance to this. It's not a fully cut and dry, fear equals vote conservative. So, keep that in mind. It still seems to be pretty heavily debated. So while it is fascinating how this instinct toward safety ties back to biology and political ideology, it is even more so when we start looking into the role that genetics plays in this. A 2013 Pew Research summary explores how identical twins who share nearly 100% of their genetic material are more likely to have similar political beliefs compared to fraternal twins who only share about 50%. Similar to personality traits, this showed between 30 and 60% of political inclination could be genetic. This means that while your culture, environment, and experiences do impact you, possibly more than half of your political opinions are just baked in, so to speak. The most comprehensive work on this subject comes from the journal Twin Research and Human Genetics in 2015. This study followed twins and their families over multiple years, analyzing political, economic, and psychological behaviors. It confirmed that genetic predispositions interact with environmental factors, especially during formative years. So together, these studies suggest that while your upbringing does matter. Your genes might have more sway or more control, I suppose, than you would expect. Your political beliefs could be as much of a part of your biology as your height or eye color. But I wanted to get a little bit more anecdote on these topics. I mean, we've laid out the science. Let's see how this plays out in the wild, so to speak. So I asked my followers a few questions on this topic, and we've also got an even larger sample size to pick from, the town square of the internet, Reddit. And as we all know, Reddit has very measured and moderate takes on all subjects, especially the political ones.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
If you like that video, make sure to check out the whole video up top. See you later.